what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me is Christopher Fry. We are with the Foot Candle Film Society and the annual Foot Candle Film Festival that takes place here in Western North Carolina. And we're here today to review a film and talk about some upcoming films. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing well, period. How are you, Alan?
Question mark. Fine. I am doing just fine. And we've already done our catch-up.
Looking forward to our review of The Bride! Exclamation point. There you go.
Yeah. Good.
Sorry.
Everything needs to be very muted until we get to the title of this film.
Right.
Anytime
punctuation.
Anytime a film puts a punctuation in the title,
right,
whether it be a colon, my favorite, which we've been like inundated with colon-based films.
Yes.
This one, though, went a different direction, has an exclamation point at the end. Kind of like Mother. That's another one I remember.
Yeah.
Are there other exclamation point films I'm not thinking
Everybody Wants Some? The Linklater film?
That one, yes. Everybody Wants Some.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, again, you have to say it with the exclamation point in there.
I think that may be the only ones on my radar.
I'm sure there's others. I'm just not recalling offhand, but okay. Good. Well, continuing in the tradition of Mother, this one is The Bride, is what we're going to be reviewing here shortly. That is the latest film. Writer-director Maggie Gyllenhaal, also actress, but this is her second feature film she has written and directed. And we'll be reviewing that starring Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale. After we do our review of The Bride, that's going to get really old, by the way. I'm not going to be able to do that the entire way through the review.
Fair enough.
After our review of The Bride, we will be discussing some upcoming films via trailers, films that will be released in the coming months that we'll be looking at for the first time in some cases and deciding if it's something we think is worth waiting for, checking out or not. And then at the end of the show, Chris is going to have his patented weekly recommendation of a film that he thinks is worth the time to check out. So we'll get to that at the end. But first and foremost, we do have our review that we're going to jump into right now. Chris, are you ready to review The Bride? Exclamation point.
Yes, period.
Okay, here we go.
Can anybody help me? Please. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. Please. Help. Help.
John Mulaney joked during his 2024 Governor's Awards monologue about auditioning for the role of young cop in an untitled Maggie Gyllenhaal film. He self-taped for the part, which ultimately went to actor Louis Kenselme. The film in question turned out to be Gyllenhaal's second directorial effort, The Bride. The film takes place in 1930 Chicago. Frankenstein's monster, referred to in the film as simply Frank, played by Christian Bale, asks Dr. Euphonious, played by Annette Bening, to help create a companion. They bring to life a murdered woman, the bride of the film's title, played by Jessie Buckley. Considering your experience with the film, do you feel Mulaney missed out on being a part of this film or unknowingly made a wise career move?
Yeah, I think he missed out. I think this was a fun film. I like this. It's not what I expected, but I actually found myself enjoying what I got. I tend to lean into the area of I like, we've talked before about the Universal monsters repertoire, the Frankensteins, the Draculas and all that. I love any film that can kind of reference or kind of play into those those stories and kind of find an interesting take on those characters. Yes, and this is a very interesting, unique take on a particular character, the Bride of Frankenstein. I think this movie got me right away when I realized in the first, and this is not spoiling, this is in the first couple minutes of the film, that Mary Shelley herself, the author of Frankenstein,
Also played by Jessie Buckley, kind of plays a role in this film. And that concept and kind of how that wove its way into the film and the style, the production value of the film, the performances, both with Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale, all just kind of worked for me. I got to admit, I think I was in a certain mindset where it worked for me. I could totally see how it would not work for a lot of other people. It just kind of got me at a good moment and I enjoyed it. There's a lot of problems with it. There are a lot of things that don't make sense. I don't think a lot of things that I didn't quite understand the rationale for doing, including, but overall, I still found myself just having a good time with this film. I think it does flatten out at the end, doesn't quite nail an ending the way I would expect a film like this to do. It actually became a lot more of a traditional film by the ending than I was hoping, where the first half really kind of played up more of its very unique style and kind of vision for the story. But overall, I did like it and I had a good time with it, but I'm also totally expecting, it may even happen at this table, a completely different take on it. I don't know. Chris, what's your take on The Bride? So I don't know if I shared it on our beginning episode. Like I always at the end of the year, this is not the end of the year, this is more towards the beginning, like the cinematic swings of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I share, sometimes I've shared that list, but I definitely do it on Letterboxd. And this will definitely hit that category of big cinematic swings for 2026. As you mentioned, other than the title, and I'd seen the teaser, I knew kind of what the film was going to be about. I knew it was kind of like a take on the Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein type thing. And I knew the major actors involved. But this is not what I expected. Definitely a big swing. Sadly, it did not really work for me.
Didn't work for you. Yeah.
And I think the problem for me was I think it centers around tone. And it's pretty violent. At one point, Christian Bale's Frank stomps a man's head into the concrete, and much like American History X, very graphically done, just like that movie had a guy getting stomped on a curb. Very graphically done.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, there's the R rating right there. But then there seems to be a want to add humor, most shockingly so to me, dealing with music. There is a Putting on the Ritz, which people who are familiar with a funny movie that also did Frankenstein, and I think it's one of your favorites.
It is.
Is a Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks, directly references that, but it comes, at least for me, out of nowhere. And then at first I'm like, okay, I'm assuming this is intentional. And then as the scene goes on, you're like, yeah, this is definitely intentional, but I don't really understand why. At the end of the film, when the credits roll, something that was even more like out of time, out of place, and I'm just like, is this thing supposed to have been a comedy? And if so, Monster Mash. And I'm just like, I didn't get this film.
Well, yeah, okay. I agree with you on the tone. I think the tone was a little all over the place. I think it was meaning to be ironically funny by throwing in those references and the putting on the Ritz and all that. I'll agree with you. I personally, I loved the musical moment in the middle of the film. I don't understand why it was there, but I liked watching it.
You just liked it. Okay.
But I agree with you. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the rationale for it to be there. I don't even understand the mechanics of how it happened because...
No, other than just trying to make a reference.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. It was like, okay.
And again, I'm doing this without spoiling details. The whole mind control thing, that I never quite understood how that worked. And there's basically some moments where you kind of get the impression that the bride has some control over people around her, which didn't make any sense. I never thought that
It
was
makes
referenced.
as much sense as Mary Shelley from the grave is controlling the bride.
See, that I actually really liked as a concept. Something about it and it sets you up with that in the first 2 minutes.
It
I'm
does.
like, okay, so that's where we're going with this. So it's like Mary Shelley is a character in this movie speaking and kind of reaching out from the grave
Yes.
and almost like possessing
Oh, yes,
someone
absolutely.
to help fulfill the story that she wants to share or
Yes.
things that she wants to tell.
Right.
That got me. I'm like, yes, done. I'm with this. I love the meta kind of framework of it. It's great. And then it did just get really messy later on. I admit, I love the dancing sequence just because I love a good dance number. And this was fun to watch. And then there's also another sequence later in the film that I really loved the way it was shot and done. But again, it almost feels like it's in a completely different film, though.
Oh, yes.
It's a car chase.
A Bonnie and Clyde or Frankie
Well,
and the Bride.
kind of a nighttime
Okay.
car chase with like the use of headlights. It was just really well done, and I found it to be pretty exciting. But then again, I had to remind myself, but this is the whole Bonnie and Clyde portion of this film is from
Right.
a whole different film. And
Yep.
I agree with you on the cinematic swing. It's great that somebody is going to say, look, let's take the classic Universal horror film trope. Let's take kind of a 1930s gangster kind of seedy underground vibe. And then let's also throw in a Bonnie and Clyde kind of sequences. Let's do all this. And even culminating near a drive-in theater, the use of movie theaters all throughout the film is some really cool ideas. I personally was along for the ride, but I totally get it. It is a shaggy film for sure.
Yeah.
And doesn't hold up on close scrutiny on like a lot of revisit thoughts. So yeah.
And I think Jessie Buckley, she is up for an Oscar this year for Hamnet. And her performance in this film is outsized. And I think, unfortunately, it just reminded me a lot of Emma Stone from Poor Things. Mm-hmm. A kind of Frankenstein adjacent performance, which won her an Oscar for that film. And it's not that it was bad. It's just it was hard for me to separate kind of what she was doing here with what Emma Stone was doing in Poor Things. But I think she gave a good performance. I'm not saying she can give a good performance.
It's a great performance. Again, Jessie Buckley has solidified herself this year for me. I'm like, yes, the range involved between Hamnet and this. I'm like, oh yeah, she's got it covered. I think she's really good and really fun in this. And I think Christian Bale's really good too.
He's good.
personally.
Yeah.
I think they're playing the parts they were given very, very well.
Something else. This film, like it didn't, I admire the big swing, but I felt like kind of as a reference to like the whole Frankenstein story, I felt like it was a bunch of body parts assembled for a bunch of different movies.
Well,
you have Bonnie
that's
and
true.
Clyde, you have Young Frankenstein, you have the movie Frankenstein itself, Bride of Frankenstein, but then also, in a way, they did this whole Skarsgård and Cruz were in it, Penelope Cruz,
Yeah,
and
that didn't work.
and
for me.
and I was like, I don't understand Peter Sarsgaard, and I don't. It just didn't, like, it was kind of this like detective thing trying to figure out, and that actually so that was like this noir type film. That was another body part they threw in. Then a film that has a very troubled history, and it was kind of a combination of two films. Todd Phillips, The Joker and Joker 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because Joker
definitely-
2 had a
definitely
musical.
got some Joker.
Joker 2 had a
vibes.
musical, and The Joker, which filtered over into Joker 2, had this whole idea of you have this figure that becomes an icon, and people then make a cult and follow it. And that happened in this film, which I think was trying to be a through line with Mary Shelley feeling like she was ignored and didn't get the acclaim that she wanted for Frankenstein, and then had this other story she wanted to tell, which is the bride. So she takes possession, does all this stuff. So kind of that like trying to be a feminist icon and everything, and then making the bride that, and having people that would, if you've seen the trailer, you see how there's like black smeared makeup on the bride's face, and then all these people that become obsessed with her do the same thing. But it just
Well,
was not
that was
handled.
never explored
Right.
well enough. I mean, yeah, that became almost like an afterthought in the film. Even the fact, I don't know if you stayed through the first little bit of the credits, but there's like a whole shot, like after the initial credits at the end, of like you come back to the detective, and then somehow it's all these women with that face makeup, torturing the one gangster guy. Did you see this? Did you slip out at the credits?
No, I didn't. I sat there.
Oh, you probably saw it then. It's just, I mean, it happened very early in the shot.
Okay,
I
then
thought,
yeah,
so,
I
in
saw
the
it,
credits.
okay. Oh yeah, the mobster guy who was the main person who I guess was the reason she got killed in the very
Yeah.
beginning because she knew too much. Yes, I saw that. Okay, yeah.
And it's like at that point in the film, yeah, you're bringing back up this theme, this idea that I'm like, oh yeah, this would be a lot more effective if it had actually been explored more in the film
Right.
and become more a part of the film. I thought in general the two detectives we had,
Penelope Cruz,
Penelope
and
Cruz,
Peter Skarsgård.
and Peter Skarsgård. I thought that whole subplot didn't work.
No.
It didn't add anything to the film. They were trying to build in some past history with the detective and the bride that when it kind of was revealed, it just landed with a thud. It didn't make any difference. And then
No.
nothing was explored or used with it afterwards. So it's like, it was kind of pointless. Yeah, I think the film could have got away with that, even with the whole criminal underground element. You didn't really need it. It's like it just seemed so superfluous to everything else that we were talking about. I mean, I think there's a film that's like, okay, yes, it's The Bride of Frankenstein. Frankenstein wants a bride, wants a partner, wants a companion. One is made for him. They are on the run because they are hunted as monsters, but they lead a kind of a Bonnie and Clyde life. I'm cool with all that. That's good.
Right.
It's just, yeah, then you weave in these detectives and this underground theory. And then you bring in this whole idea of them inspiring other copycats to be. It's like, that's a whole nother storyline you could explore. And none of that was done very well. The core story of just the two of them and their relationship is what I liked about this film. All the other stuff they tried to do on top of it would have been really interesting if it had been explored more and used more instead of just kind of piled on top of this film, stitched onto it, to go back to your reference. So, yeah. But yeah, going back to the performances though, I mean,
Why is Annette Bening in it?
I was okay with that.
Not that she's bad.
Yeah, I think you had to have a doctor. I mean, there had to be somebody to do this, and I like it's a bit of a turn. It's a female doctor, which I don't think we've seen in any of these films, which I think was great.
Right.
And she's playing a little against type. It's not the kind of role you expect to see Annette Bening playing. I liked it. I liked her role in that. So, and I liked how it did come back to her. Again, it was a little sloppy how it got there.
Okay.
But I'm okay with it kind of coming back to her involvement in the story at some point, like it did. Let's see. Jake Gyllenhaal is in this.
Okay. Yet another, he plays kind of like a Fred Astaire film
Ronnie
star.
Reed.
Yes.
He
Who has a
plays
bunch of
classic
films
film
that is very
star.
popular. They're just apparently churning out. Frank's obsessed with them and wants to go
Yes.
see them.
Yes.
And then sees himself as Ronnie Reed.
Which
Which
I
kind
liked,
of
but yeah,
that
I get
actually feeds a little bit into the explanation of putting on the Ritz, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, just there's so many ideas that it just
it traipsed into this whole meta commentary of like Frank seeing himself in the movies, which is, of course, Frankenstein has been in the movies. As Frankenstein has been a movie character in a lot of things.
Right.
So seeing him kind of envisioning himself up on the screen, playing these parts, I got that. I like this whole idea that that's the thing that kind of calms him or gives him pleasure as he goes to the movie theaters. And that's becomes kind of a weird and not very logical thought out way for the detectives to track them.
right.
That didn't really make sense. Like, how could you
No.
find him just thinking about a movie he might go see in a theater in a different town? It's like that kind of lost me.
Didn't really work. Right.
But I like the idea that that's what Frankenstein wants to do, is to go to the movies and see the movies. Like, that's a cool little personality twist I like. And again, it does become a little bit of a meta commentary on Frankenstein's role in the movie universe in general. See, yeah, when we got to the thing, putting on the Ritz dance sequence, I'm like, oh yeah, they're totally leaning into the fact that Frankenstein is a movie character, and this is obviously a well-known version of this character that people love, and it gives them a reason to dance, and I was okay with it. So, yeah, a lot of ideas crammed in it. I'd say maybe just like a quarter of the ideas worked. The rest just seemed to be kind of piled on, and it didn't hurt my enjoyment of the film, but I absolutely get that it's not a good film just by trying to accomplish all the things it was trying to do.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of summing it. So many ideas, definitely a big swing, but unfortunately it just went into foul territory. So yeah,
Nice.
not a
That was
home
good.
run,
That
not
was
even
good.
close. So
Can I just make a comment about Zlatko Burek,
okay.
actor who plays Lapino, who is the ultimate gangster,
Okay.
big boss guy.
Okay.
This guy, I don't know if you've realized, this guy is like in everything these days.
I did not realize that.
So he was in the Superman movie.
Which
He
one?
played the latest one, the James
Okay.
Gunn movie.
Okay.
He played the leader of that foreign country that were like
Oh yeah.
kind of with the bigger hair.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
little-
Yeah. Okay.
That was him. He's in the Marvel TV show Wonder Man that
Okay.
I started watching and was trying to catch up with. He's in that. He's done some other things. Really interesting. And like an older actor that is now like
In everything.
in everything. He's one of those guys. Sometimes those guys pop into a movie and all of a sudden they start showing up in every movie.
Everywhere.
It's like, who is this guy? Where did he come from?
Okay.
But Zlatko Burek, he's from Yugoslavia.
Okay.
Was born in 1953, so he's like 70 some years old. And it seems like he's just living his actor life right now. He is in a bunch of stuff. And
Well, if we're going to
that's
call
fine.
out like people that were in that, who was
Triangle of Sadness was like the thing
wow.
he was in a few years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
he was in
Okay.
that.
wow,
He was one of the people on the boat,
yes,
I believe. Yes.
yes. John Majaro is in the film, and he plays not the big mobster, but he's kind of like one of his like henchman people. He's responsible for making the bride fall down the stairs or whatever and die. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and it was interesting to see him in this film. Didn't have a big role, but he was in it. So I thought it was odd seeing him in the film. So, but yeah,
Yeah. John Magaro.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And where would I know him from?
He was in First Cow, the Kelly Reichardt movie. That's
right,
the big
right,
thing
right.
that you put.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he was the husband in The Materialist that came out. Or not The
right.
Materialist, but the one before
no,
that.
Past Lives.
Past Lives.
Yeah.
he was
yeah.
in that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where you know him from.
Cool. Good deal.
He was also, which I'm sure you've watched it, he was in the movie that I recommended 2 shows ago, the writer who decides to write about a serial killer. I can't even remember the name of the movie, but he was the lead actor in that film.
Oh, okay.
But no,
Good.
I know you haven't seen it yet. But
I do remember him from Past Lives. That
Yeah.
was it. So, all right. Well, it sounds like we're split on The Bride, but I totally get it. I'm not confrontational about it. I totally, and I've seen the reviews after watching it last night. I read up on some other people's reviews. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like some people really don't like it. Some people like it. I had fun with it.
it's all in the writing. I think the direction is fine. The acting is fine. The production design, the costumes, the makeup, like a lot of stuff. I even like the black smear on the side of Jesse
Yeah,
Buckley's
yeah.
face. Like all of that, I'm okay with. It just
I think
just too shaggy.
I think the production of it won me over.
Okay.
And helped me overlook
the other
the
things.
script issues.
Got you.
Yeah, and the story issues in general. I think I just had so much fun with the production value, the setting, the 1930s, the movie theaters, the meta commentary on Frankenstein as a Hollywood figure. I all that worked for me. So I think I just had enough of a good time with it. I could overlook
Got you.
how when I do sit here and think about it. Yeah, well, the story was kind of all over the place and very messy and didn't work as well. Okay, that is The Bride, ! Writer, director Maggie Gyllenhaal. If nothing else, we can say, yes, it was a big swing of a film. to make, especially coming after the Lost Daughter. Lost Daughter.
Yeah.
Very, very different film. Very, very different stylistically. So, yeah, keep them coming, I say. We'll see if the next one works a little better story-wise. Okay. Great, Chris. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got some trailers to watch as well as a recommendation from Chris to listen to. So stay tuned. You're listening to Foot Candle Films, and we'll be right back in a moment.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. Alan Jackson and Chris Fry with you here. We finished our review of The Bride, ! In the first half of our podcast. We were a little split on that, but I think at least accepting of each other's takes and opinions on this film. And definitely I understood your issues with it for sure. But let's move on to talking about some trailers that are coming out, that are now out for films that will be coming out in the coming months. And interestingly enough, Chris, 2 of the 3 trailers, and some people may argue all 3 trailers, are about creatures, monsters type of thing. So we're kind of feeding off of the whole Bride part of the review. I only joke about the third one. We'll get to that in a minute. But these 2 of them for sure are in that vein. First up, we're going to watch a trailer for, and the proper name of this movie is Lee Cronin's The Mummy. All right, so Lee Cronin, writer-director, has made a version of The Mummy.
What's his filmography? The name sounds
Evil Dead Rise.
Okay.
Trying to think. He's done a couple other films that are all in the horror.
I've definitely heard
area.
the name, but I didn't know where. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's kind of in that Blumhouse arena.
Okay.
He's done a couple films.
Gotcha.
I definitely know Evil Dead, like the latest Evil Dead movie he did.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good question. Like, I thought it was kind of interesting to like put his name in the title.
Right. Lee Cronin's
The Mummy. Granted, there's a lot of The Mummies out there, so I kind of get that. It's like that was, and there are even talks right now about resurrecting. I think we shared it in our news that there's going to be a new Mummy with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz as well. So I get it. They're trying to separate this out, but Lee Cronin is not really a household name. So kind of hearing that, I don't really know if that really helps them or not. Anyway, we'll see.
Okay.
This is the idea behind this version of the film. It is very different. I've seen this trailer, Chris, and it's a very different take on The Mummy. In this film, a journalist's young daughter disappears into the desert without a trace. 8 years later, the broken family is shocked when she returns to them, as what should be a joyful reunion turns into a living nightmare.
Okay. Yes, this sounds a little different from the Brendan Fraser, the Mummy movie.
Very, very different. Yeah. And this trailer scares me.
Okay.
Yeah. I was about to program it to be a trailer playing before movies at the theater that we're in, and I opted not to do that. After watching the trailer myself, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. So anyway, let's watch Lee Cronin's The Mummy trailer. Here we go.
Can I get 2 slices of pizza? No.
Of course, honey.
No, you never ever finish 2.
Hello?
Mr. and Mrs. Cannon, I'm Deputy Chief at the U.S. Embassy. Your daughter Katie has been found. She's alive.
It's very important you fully prepare yourselves for what you're about to see. No sudden moves. No loud noises.
Hey, Butterfly. It's Mom and Dad.
Yeah, we are here. We're here.
Okay. That was the trailer for Lee Cronin's The Mummy. coming out April 17th. Chris, you and I are not huge horror film fans.
No.
I mean, we like the classic horrors. We like well done, more psychological horrors, but
We don't typically go for jump scare horror.
right. So give me your take on this. Anything interesting to you here?
This looks really well shot.
Yes.
Has a very interesting take on the Mummy storyline. But much like you, I think I will probably avoid seeing it because not that I don't think it's good. It's just not my thing. And it looks to be really scary, but it does look really well done from what I can tell from the trailer. The trailer is super duper effective. Like I think it's just a really
it's a good trailer.
Does make me want to see the movie, but I don't want to see the movie. So yeah, I think, I think this could be a really good film. It always surprises me when, this is releasing in April, mid-April. It seems to be you'd want to put this out closer to like Halloween, but maybe not. They release horror movies year round now. I think A24 / Neon are going to be disappointed they didn't have a stake in this. It is, like you mentioned, you were correct. I saw it in the titles. It is a Blumhouse adjacent production. So, yeah. And I think Lee Cronin may be glad that he has his name as part of the title.
Well,
so we'll see.
Let me talk about that for a second.
Sure.
I'm with you on this. I mean, it looks incredibly well done.
Maybe as you and I sometimes say, maybe they gave away a little bit too much of the story arc, but still.
It's the whole reason why I never saw the remake of The Evil Dead or the sequel to it, Evil Dead Rise.
Okay.
Same idea. It's like they look like they were pretty well done horror films, but it's just not a type of horror
Over
film
on the
I
gore.
really like.
And
So,
Evil
yeah.
Dead was Sam Raimi and kind of like jokey.
I mean,
This
the
is
original.
Like,
the
original.
The remake was definitely played for
Yeah.
serious
Yeah.
version.
Right.
So I'm just fascinated by the fact that Lee Cronin got his name in the title of this movie. Okay, here's this guy's background right now.
Sure.
He's been making short films since like 2004.
Okay.
He's made a series of short films and a couple episodic things online. And then in 2016, he made a movie called Minutes Past Midnight that he did a segment of. It was like an anthology movie.
film. Okay.
Then I think his first true film that he did like himself was The Hole in the Ground in 2019.
I have heard of that film.
Okay.
Never saw it.
All right.
But I've heard of it.
The Hole in the Ground he did in 2019. Then he did 2 episodes of a show, like a horror-based show called 50 States of Fright. He did back in 2020.
Okay.
And then he did Evil Dead Rise. Not even The Evil Dead, but
Okay.
The Evil Dead Rise, the sequel to the remake
And
in
what was the year for-
2023.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I didn't see the movie, but I remember there's like a dead mom creeping out of a bathtub.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the trailer was everywhere.
I saw the trailer. I'm like, I'm not watching this movie.
That ain't for me.
Yeah, right. Not for me. And this is very reminiscent of that
Yeah.
same feel. But that's it. That's what this guy's done. Now, my question is his name really well known in the horror community to where it's like, all right, we saw Lee Cronin. We've seen enough of his own short films
Right.
and other episodic things he's done and all that we're on board with it or not. I just think it's really interesting.
Yeah, me not being the horror aficionado, not sure, but I'm going to guess yes.
Okay.
That maybe that adds some cachet that will attract people to see this movie because it is a Lee Cronin joint. So,
Yeah. All right. Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's really fascinating. Anytime
Yeah.
I see that somebody's got the director's name in the title of the film. I mean, like you got Bram Stoker's Dracula. I'm sorry, that's the author.
Right.
What am I thinking of? There's another one. There's one there's like the director's name with the title of the film. Yeah, not Bram Stoker's Dracula. Obviously that's Coppola.
Sure.
Oh, anyway.
There are other instances of that, but I can't think of
Yeah, I can't think of it. But anyway, just interesting to me that they pulled that off. Okay. Yeah. I hope it does well and I hope it's good. It's just that somebody else is going to have to tell me if it was good or not because I will not be seeing
now
it myself.
the deal that I make with myself is that if there's a film like this and it gets generally good reviews and everybody's saying like, yeah, it's a remake, it's been done before, but it's really original, it's really good. Come October, I try to watch a lot of horror films in October just because it's spooky season. I may be like, you know what? Let's put on Lee Cronin's The Mummy and give it a spin. But I get to watch it in the safety of my own home, like on a Saturday at 2:00 in the afternoon. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
it's a little safe, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to our second trailer,
Sure.
which, keeping in theme
Okay.
of the creature feature concept idea, this one is by, it's already a little troubling. The production studio behind it is Wellgo USA Entertainment.
I have heard of them.
Heard of them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They've shared a trailer and release date for The Yeti.
Okay.
This is an upcoming survivor horror thriller movie. It centers around a group of people who get terrorized by the titular monster after getting stuck in a remote part of Alaska.
Okay.
Now, the reason I bring this up is I love the idea of the Yeti, just like Bigfoot, just like big, my thing with big monsters and all that. I love it. If a movie can be well done, kind of exploring any of these
You're a secret
creatures,
fan of Harry and the Hendersons.
I do like that movie. It's funny. No, the main reason I got excited about this is Jim Cummings is in the film. Now, I was hoping Jim Cummings was the director of the film because he did The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which I did like. I thought was fun several years ago. And I like Jim Cummings as an actor in general,
Right.
as well as his own films. I was hoping this was a film he was doing. He's just an actor in it.
Okay.
But I think the fact that he's doing this after he did his own film, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, kind of, they're obviously playing into that a little bit. Hey,
Sure.
you may remember Jim Cummings from this other horror movie. Well, now we got him in this monster movie. But it's directed by Gene Gallerino and William Piscodia, which I do not know. It is executive produced by Cummings, though.
Okay.
So it's got that going for it. And again, I have not watched this trailer yet.
Okay.
I don't know what the tone of this film is meant to be. If I look at the poster, I kind of get the idea maybe it's meant to be a little campy. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to find out together here as we watch this. But this is the trailer for The Yeti.
Sorry. Did I wake you?
This just in.
We're officially declaring them missing.
He's putting together a rescue team.
Watchdog, Dr. Radio Demolition.
And he wants you to lead his search. Save his daddy and yours too.
I can't wrap my head around it. Magnetic poles can be blamed for all sorts of things. Monsters, myths, signs from the gods.
The boat had no choice but to leave us.
Nobody knows where we are.
We're fixing to die out here. We stay any longer.
That's enough.
You hear that?
Okay. Well, that was the trailer for The Yeti. And Chris, I have thoughts, but I'd like to hear yours first.
I mean, I like the fact that they're, which I'm assuming is going to appeal to you, they're very much stylizing it after old creature features. The titles, the way they have a team of maybe 7 individuals that are going to go track this. And you can already assume, and the reason we have 7 is so they can one by one pick these people off. But that's okay. So, and it does seem to, and it flashes like the titles of the name, like the doctor, the something. It's like very intentional, very stylized trailer. I'm assuming a stylized film. And
I hope it's stylized film.
It looks like it's not taking itself too seriously.
I hope so.
It might be kind of fun.
If the film leans into that B movie aesthetic that the trailer is going for, great. My fear is that was done for the trailer and the movie is, I hope, not just run-of-the-mill standard survivor horror film. I hope they lean into it a little bit more. I like the fact, too, just color me, we talk about trailers and how much trailers spoil stuff. I like the fact that we don't really see the creature.
Right. Maybe a flash at the very end.
Quick flash. But that's it. I'm like, good. Keep that. Don't, let us build up to that in the film. That makes for a good creature film if you kind of build up that anticipation to actually see it at some point late in the film. So anyway, I'm very curious. It's one of those I want to hear what tone it leans into.
Okay.
But it is coming to theaters and on digital April 10th. So
oh, wow.
It's going to be
Really
available
quick.
here just in another month. And but it will be online from day one. So it'll be something worth checking out possibly. We will see. Okay. I don't really know if it goes segue to go into this because our third trailer, I tried to make a joke that like it follows in line with like
creature features,
monsters and all. But I mean, look, I can't say that. Even though some people probably have had some beef with this guy over the years, I personally don't. I'm talking about Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
We've talked about Saturday Night Live, especially when the film Saturday Night came out, and I was a big fan of it just because I'm a big fan of the show and the concept,
right?
And the role it plays in our society.
Sure.
Big fan. So when I heard that Focus Features was doing a documentary about Lorne Michaels, the actual creator of Saturday Night Live, directed by Morgan Neville, who we have talked about quite a bit and with some films he has been involved with and made. The documentary is titled Lorne.
No exclamation point?
No exclamation point, no colons, just Lorne.
Lorne.
Five simple letters.
Okay.
And it is going for a theatrical release, which I thought was kind of interesting, April 17th.
Wow. Okay, another one that's coming up in April.
And so anyway, this is the trailer for Lorne, and I have not seen this yet. I'm very curious where this is going to go. And here we go. Let's take a look at this.
We're just killing time here. None of this can be used.
Ladies and gentlemen,
live from New York.
It's Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Michaels.
The man who created Saturday Night Live.
What is funny?
It's like pornography.
Here comes some corn.
You know it when you see it.
I don't think I would advise you to try and capture Lorne.
Jesus.
You wouldn't be happy with that, and then you'll capture a guy who's not happy.
Is this really necessary?
I was probably too driven to be a hippie. What I wanted was a voice in the culture, and SNL was that vehicle.
He has this man behind the curtain mystique about him. I don't know Lorne the way Alec Baldwin knows Lorne. I've never stood in the ocean with Lorne.
He's going to have notes that are impossible to understand.
People will be clingy, Thespian beats.
You'll know it's not playing the way Lorne thought it was going to play when he does this.
It feels like he's blowing your soul out of your body.
So that was the trailer for Lorne. No exclamation points. Documentary from Morgan Neville. Chris, I have my thoughts as a devotee of Saturday Night Live, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Of the three films, I guess it's no surprise, I'm most looking forward to this one. I watched tons of documentaries. The last show, I recommended Morgan Neville's Man on the Run about Paul McCartney. I'm interested in Saturday Night Live. I've watched it, several years. Haven't watched it as much recently. You are a big, devotee. So, but I like the fact that at least from the trailer, it looks like they're not necessarily putting him. I mean, I'm sure they're going to praise him and everything, but they seem to be acknowledging his difficult, maybe prickly sometimes side. And the fact that maybe he's going to remain a little bit of a mystery still because he just doesn't reveal that much. So I don't know. It looks to be good. So,
yeah, no, I'm excited to see it just because I love this kind of thing. Very excited for it. However,
Alan has
I
a reservation.
do. Well, it does feel. I hope it's not too whitewashed on Lorne Michaels. I mean, I do feel like. It would not shock me if you told me that Lorne Michaels was an executive producer on this documentary. I'm like, yeah, I can't get that. I think, he likes the little bit of the mystique around him. Even the comments that were made in the trailer about his personality. Yeah, it's talking about him being prickly and all that stuff, but it never is putting him in a bad light. It's kind of playing up the mystique of him. And I don't know. I hope it's an interesting documentary, not just a puff piece of just let's talk about how great Lorne is, even though we all have some funny stories about how he's interacted with us in the past. I hope it's a little more than that, but we'll see. Not expecting it to be. I expect it'll still be let's raise him up and put him on a pedestal. And that's fine. That's still going to be an interesting, entertaining watch no matter what. I love all the behind the scenes stuff of the show that seems like they're weaving in. But it also just seems to be a talking head documentary on it's just,
I was going to comment on that. So recently we talked about Epic, Elvis Presley in Concert, which was all footage, no talking heads and voiceover.
Yep.
Of Elvis, only Elvis, which was really effective, I thought. Man on the Run, which I didn't really get into this that much, but it also used all archive footage, but voiceover from Linda McCartney, Paul McCartney, some of his children. So that was still kind of effective still interesting because a lot of the documentaries you see are talking head documentaries. And I feel like this one, and it kind of talking head documentaries, and they're all like famous people who are like, oh, well, I want to see it because I want to see what Tina Fey says, which I love Tina Fey. But yeah, that does, I can see your point. So.
It's a little, I get it when you are doing a documentary on a subject where you don't have footage or audio of talking about that subject. Mm-hmm. The Elvis one worked great because they had this entire recording of Elvis talking about
his career and how he's perceived.
It was a perfect way to bridge it into a documentary like that. With this, I mean, we've got so much footage
of Lorne Michaels,
of decades of Lorne Michaels and of the show, the people on the show. It's like, surely there's got to be a more interesting way to do a documentary on Lorne Michaels than just taking all these celebrities from SNL from over the 20, 30 years and put them in rooms and let them talk. I don't know. Again, I'm doing all this from a 2-minute trailer.
Sure.
Get it. It may be constructed a lot better. It could be a lot more interesting, but I will watch it because the subject matter I'm just interested in general. But I kind of hope, this is the same guy who did the Pharrell Williams Lego documentary,
piece by piece.
Right? Which, look, I don't think that documentary worked, but at least it was a novel way of making a documentary about a celebrity. I'm like, give it props for that. Anyway, that's the only thing when I see this trailer, it's a little disheartening. It's like, oh yeah, it's perfectly lit, nice, beautiful shots of different celebrities sitting in a nice room talking about Lorne Michaels. And that seems to be what this whole thing is. And I hope it's more than that, but we'll see.
Would it have assured you if you'd seen a snippet of Chevy Chase?
That could
because
have been
especially because
again,
of the relationship over the years. Yeah. Okay.
And again, I hope there's a little
bit of Chevy.
I hope there's a little bit of controversy. I hope there's a little bit of naysayer in the film that could talk about some challenges they face or some problems or controversies with it. I don't know. I hope it dips into that a little bit.
Okay.
Because there have been some. There's get Elvis Costello on there to talk about, the fact that he got banned from the show for changing up the song that he played at the last minute, early. This is first couple seasons of the show, I think.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Elvis Costello was forbidden from playing a song, Radio Radio, that he wanted to play because Radio kind of has some commentary about media, corporate ownership, and was kind of very talking about, he was very derogatory about the radio and media industry. So Lorne Michaels and Saturday Night Live said, no, you're not going to play that song at all. And Elvis is like, okay, fine. He gets on live show and starts to play a different song and then stops 10 seconds in. It's like, no, we're going to play this song. And he played Radio Radio. And supposedly he was banned from the show because of that, because you don't go against Lorne. You don't do
you don't do that.
I don't tell you to. Anyway, and there's a lot of stories like that. So I want to hear about that stuff. I want to hear anyway, I hope it gets into it. We'll see. All right. The 3 trailers, Chris, sounds like, yes, we are more likely to find ourselves watching Lorne than we are the other two. But I will say I'm curious about the Yeti just because I want to see what kind of tone and style it adopts and if it makes it an interesting watch.
Sure.
And then if enough people tell me that Lee Cronin's The Mummy is a really, really well-made, good film, I will watch it begrudgingly because I'm a scaredy cat. But I'll still watch it if I hear it's really, really good. So I'll be anxious to hear about that. Kind of, that's where
you are.
We're
aligned with that. Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Okay, Chris. Well, we are at the end of the show. We've done our review. We've done our trailer discussion. So now we get to the part that, honestly, I think everybody that listens to this they probably just skip right to the end, Chris. Right. They probably just do the little plus 30 seconds on their podcast player as many times as they need to get to this point in the film or in the show where they are going to listen to your recommendation. You have a film recommendation for us. You like to share those with us each time we're together. What do you have to recommend for us today, Chris, as a film you think we ought to go back and check out?
It's a film we actually reviewed back on the show in 2018, I believe. It's called Wild Rose, directed by Tom Harper. The description is: a young Scottish singer, Rose Lynn Harlan, dreams of making it as a country artist in Nashville after being released from prison. Who plays the young Scottish singer? Well, none other than Jessie Buckley. And I think I had seen Jessie Buckley before, but not much. Mm-hmm. But this film, I was really like, wow, she's amazing. And it helps that she sings in the film. Obviously, they mentioned she's a singer. And I cannot remember the title of the song, but after I saw this movie, I put it on a playlist and I listened to it. Feels Like Home, I think, is the name of the song.
I believe you're right.
But I loved it. And I just really, it was a star-making performance for her. I really loved the movie, really loved that song. So if you like Jessie Buckley, if you've seen Hamnet, or if you've seen The Bride and you're like, oh, this lady, she seems good. This is an older film of hers, an earlier film that I think people should check out, Wild Rose. It's not, I can't find it streaming anywhere except for on Tubi, that free service that has ads, but it is rentable all over the place. So on Amazon, on Apple Movies, you can get it. You can get it lots of places.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting that looking back in her filmography, she was in a lot of stuff before Wild Rose.
Okay.
But yet Wild Rose is probably the first I remember kind of seeing her, and it was kind of touted as her
breakthrough
performance. Sure. But she did a lot of TV episodes and some other short films and things before that. So, but yeah, Wild Rose, I was not as big on the film as a whole, but I did think her performance was amazing. So I will say it's worth watching for her, even if I didn't think the film itself did as much for me as a whole film. Yeah, I'm trying to look and see. Since Wild Rose, I'm trying to think what else she's actually
she was in Judy.
Yep.
She was in the Lost Daughter, which we talked about, which was another Maggie Gyllenhaal film. She was in
I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Yep. Men, the Alex Garland film. A film that I don't know if you ever saw, Women Talking.
I did not ever get caught up with that one.
It's more of an ensemble piece, but that Women Talking is great.
Okay.
Wicked Little Letters, a film we bought for Foot Candle.
Yep. Talk about that. And then, of course, Hamnet and The Bride.
Yeah.
I think coming up, I don't really see much on her list as far as what's touted as upcoming work for her yet. So
gotcha.
But she's been in quite a bit. And again, I think right now she is probably my favorite current, working actress.
Okay.
Not counting anybody that's been around for decades and been doing acting. As far as somebody who's just come up in the last 10 years.
Sure.
She's probably my favorite female actor at the moment. So anyway.
Gotcha.
All right. Good recommendation. Appreciate that, Chris. And with that, I think that wraps us up for today. So The Bride, split decision on The Bride. And we had our trailers for The Mummy, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, The Yeti, and also for Lorne documentary, and then recommendation of Wild Rose. So Chris, a lot for people to respond to here. If they choose to get involved with us in any way, shape, or form, conversation-wise, how can they go about doing that?
You can send an email to info@footcandle.org, leave us a voicemail via the contact page on the Mesh.tv website, follow us on Facebook at Foot Candle Film Society, Instagram Threads, Foot Candle Film, Blue Sky, also Foot Candle Film, Alan and I are on Letterboxd, where we try to track what we're seeing and leave quick takes. Do us a favor. If you like the show, consider giving us a star rating, write a review, share with friends on whatever service you receive your favorite podcast on, because it'll help us reach new listeners, and we would always appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the episode today, and we'll look forward to seeing or talking to everybody next time we get together. Until then, take care.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people. Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.